Another mystery buried deep in the hills of eastern Washington keeps resurfacing. A bottomless pit said to be a pathway to the paranormal. KOMO4's Denise Whitaker heads east in search of the hole.
What if a hole existed so deep, so bizarre, that even experts couldn't explain it?
Now to eastern Washington. I guess this is eastern Washington. Mel, are you there?
Yes, I am.
In 1997, a man named Mel Waters dialed into a radio show with a claim that sparked decades of obsession. A bottomless pit on his property, hiding secrets beyond imagination. Now, for the first time,
what are we searching for when we search for Mel's Hole? I think that's a question. In a metaphorical sense, in a deeper sense.
Experts have flown a drone into Mel's Hole, and what they captured has left even skeptics speechless. The footage reveals something so unexpected that it challenges our understanding of reality. Join us as we uncover the shocking truth about what happens at one of America's most mysterious locations. The legend begins. The story of Mel's Hole started in February 1997, when a man identifying himself as Mel Waters called into the late-night radio show Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. What began as a seemingly ordinary call quickly evolved into one of the most intriguing paranormal mysteries of the modern era. Mel Waters claimed to own property in rural Washington, approximately 9 miles west of Ellensburg in Kittitas County. According to Waters, his land contained something extraordinary, a hole of seemingly infinite depth that exhibited supernatural properties. Waters explained that locals had known about this hole for generations, with early settlers reportedly calling it the Devil's Hole. What made Waters' story compelling wasn't just his calm, matter-of-fact delivery, but the specific details he provided about the hole's properties. He described how his dogs would avoid the area entirely, refusing to approach within 100 feet of the opening. This unusual animal behavior was the first indication that something about the hole wasn't natural. Curiosity eventually got the better of Waters. Using a fishing line and a weight, he attempted to measure the hole's depth. He still hadn't reached bottom after using nearly 80,000 feet of line, over 15 miles.
Well, they should have some technology that can give me an idea of how deep this thing is. I mean, obviously, the old fishing line method is only going to go so far.
For context, the deepest man-made hole ever drilled, the Kola Super Deep borehole in Russia, reached just 40,230 feet. Waters was claiming something that, if true, would defy geological understanding. In subsequent radio appearances in 1997 and 2000, Waters expanded his claims. The hole allegedly possessed otherworldly properties. Metal objects lowered into it would transform into different materials. Radios placed near the pit would pick up strange broadcasts from what seemed to be the distant past. Perhaps most disturbingly, Waters claimed his neighbor had thrown his deceased dog into the hole, only to find the animal wandering the woods days later, alive but seemingly different, unresponsive to its former owner, but still wearing the same collar.
This could be an apocryphal story, but one guy claims that he threw his departed canine down into the hole.
As Waters continued his radio appearances, his claims became increasingly skeptical to the public. He spoke of government agents seizing his property, offering him a substantial payout to relocate to Australia. He detailed being kidnapped upon his return to America, waking up in San Francisco with IV marks on his arms and gaps in his memory. These escalating claims might have relegated Waters to the category of eccentric storyteller or hoaxer, but something about his tale resonated with people. Perhaps it was the underlying theme of an unexplained wonder hidden in plain sight, or maybe it was the suggestion of government conspiracy that followed. Whatever the reason, Mel's Hole soon joined the ranks of American folklore, inspiring amateur explorers and professional investigators alike to seek out this mysterious anomaly. Beyond scientific explanation, the remarkable claims about Mel's Hole extend far beyond just its unfathomable depth. If we take Waters' accounts at face value, this anomaly represents a direct challenge to our fundamental understanding of physics. Consider the impossibility of a truly bottomless hole from a geological perspective. The Earth's continental crust averages only about 19 miles thick, with even the thickest sections under mountain ranges extending no more than 60 miles. Waters claimed to have lowered fishing line to a depth of around 15 miles without reaching the bottom, already approaching the limits of what geology tells us is possible. But it's the hole's alleged supernatural properties that truly defy explanation. According to Waters, a bucket of ice lowered into the hole returned still solid, but inexplicably warm to the touch. Even more bizarrely, he claimed this transformed ice was flammable, a property that contradicts everything we know about the molecular structure of water. The story of the resurrected dog shows another scientific impossibility. Waters described how his neighbor's dog, after being disposed of in the hole following its death, was found alive days later in the surrounding woods. The animal allegedly appeared physically identical, but behaved differently, as if something fundamental about its nature had changed. Perhaps the most scientifically perplexing claim involves the hole's acoustic properties. Waters stated that the hole produced no echoes whatsoever, regardless of what was dropped in. Sound waves behave according to well-established physical laws. They reflect off surfaces, creating echoes in enclosed spaces. A truly bottomless hole should still produce some echo, as sound waves bounce off the walls during descent. The complete absence of echo suggests either a bizarre acoustic anomaly or a space that somehow absorbs sound completely.
Mel's hole is a hole in the world where if you throw something into it, no sound comes back.
Despite the implausibility of Waters' claims when measured against conventional science, they continue to fascinate because they suggest the existence of natural phenomena beyond our current understanding. Throughout history, unexplained mysteries have often preceded scientific breakthroughs. What might a genuine investigation of Mel's hole reveal about the physical world we think we understand so well? This persistent scientific intrigue, combined with the allure of the unknown, would eventually attract professional investigators armed with modern technology, experts determined to document what conventional science says cannot exist. Drone technology breakthrough. The investigation of Mel's hole remained stagnant for years, with amateur explorers occasionally searching the area, but finding nothing definitive. In early 2024, however, a breakthrough occurred that would change everything: the development of specialized drone technology specifically designed to explore extreme environments. This technological leap forward wasn't created with Mel's hole in mind, but rather for industrial and scientific applications. A team of engineers from the Pacific Northwest had developed a drone system capable of withstanding extreme conditions, including high pressure, intense electromagnetic interference, and prolonged operation without GPS navigation. The drone, dubbed DeepSight, represents a marvel of modern engineering. Unlike conventional consumer drones that rely constantly on operator input and GPS positioning, DeepSight utilizes an advanced autonomous navigation system. Using a combination of LiDAR, infrared mapping, and proprietary AI algorithms, the drone can create three-dimensional maps of its surroundings in real time, even in complete darkness. Perhaps most important for exploring a location like Mel's hole, the DeepSight drone employs a groundbreaking tethering system. While conventional drones have limited range due to battery constraints and signal limitations, DeepSight uses a microfilament tether that provides power and maintains a data connection at extreme distances. The tether itself weighs just fractions of an ounce per 100 feet, allowing for unprecedented exploration depths. The drone's imaging system is equally impressive, featuring multiple camera arrays that capture visible light, infrared, and even spectroscopic data that can analyze the chemical composition of surfaces from a distance. All this information is transmitted back through the tether in real time, allowing operators to see exactly what the drone sees as it descends. Another crucial feature for investigating Mel's hole is DeepSight's electromagnetic shielding. According to Waters' original account, electronic equipment often malfunction near the hole. DeepSight was designed with military-grade shielding against electromagnetic interference, originally intended to allow operation near power plants and telecommunications equipment. The exploration team also equipped the drone with environmental sensors, capable of detecting temperature variations, air pressure changes, radiation levels, and the presence of various gases. This comprehensive sensor array would provide valuable scientific data, regardless of what visual information the cameras might capture. Perhaps most importantly, DeepSight was designed with redundancy in mind. Multiple backup systems ensure that even if several components fail, the drone can still return to its launch point, and in a worst-case scenario, the tether allows for physical retrieval, even if all electronic systems fail. With this revolutionary technology in hand, a multidisciplinary team of experts began planning what would become the first documented scientific investigation of Mel's hole. Their goal was simple but ambitious: to determine once and for all what, if anything, truly exists at the bottom of this legendary anomaly. As plans for the expedition took shape, none of the team members could have anticipated what their drone would ultimately capture: footage that would challenge their scientific understanding and shock viewers worldwide. The search begins. Finding Mel's hole presented a unique challenge. Unlike many paranormal investigations where the location is well established, the exact coordinates of this mysterious pit had remained elusive for decades. Mel Waters himself had been deliberately vague about its location, claiming only that it was approximately 9 miles west of Ellensburg on property he owned. Official records complicated matters further. County property records showed no one named Mel Waters owning land in the area during the relevant time frame. This absence of documentation had led skeptics to dismiss the entire story as fabrication, but the investigation team took a different approach. The team began their search by triangulating information from multiple sources. They compiled reports from residents who claimed knowledge of the hole, overlaid geological survey data identifying areas where deep sinkholes might naturally form, and analyzed satellite imagery for unexplained features or signs of restricted access. A breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Historical aerial photographs from the 1970s showed an area of disturbed land with what appeared to be vehicles gathered around a dark feature. More recent imagery showed the same location now covered with vegetation that appeared different from the surrounding forest, with younger trees in a conspicuous circular pattern. The team also discovered something curious in more recent government surveys. A section of land approximately 9 miles west of Ellensburg was marked as a geological research area and had been placed under restricted access in the early 2000s, just after Waters' final radio appearance. With several potential locations identified, the team established a methodical search pattern. Rather than immediately deploying the expensive DeepSight drone, they began with conventional reconnaissance drones to survey each area from above. The investigation hit an unexpected obstacle when 2 team members reported being followed during their field research. Unmarked vehicles appeared on remote roads, and a local informant suddenly became unwilling to speak with them after receiving an unspecified visit. After weeks of searching, the team's persistence paid off. In a densely wooded area matching their historical and geological criteria, they discovered something remarkable: a clearing where nothing grew, surrounded by a perimeter of unusually tall, straight trees. At the center of this clearing was a depression approximately 9 feet in diameter, covered by a metal plate secured with heavy locks. Thermal imaging revealed something else interesting. The air above this metal plate was consistently several degrees cooler than the surrounding area, regardless of the time of day or weather conditions. Using specialized equipment, the team detected faint but persistent electromagnetic fluctuations emanating from the site, another correlation with Waters' original claims about electronic equipment malfunctioning near the hole. Perhaps most convincingly, they discovered the remains of a sophisticated security system around the perimeter, motion sensors and camera mounts that had been removed but left telltale mounting points on several trees. After documenting their findings and consulting with legal experts about potential trespassing concerns, the team made a crucial decision. Rather than attempting to remove the metal plate, which might have legal implications and could potentially alter whatever lay beneath, they would use the DeepSight drone's advanced capabilities to investigate without disturbing the site. As the team prepared their equipment for the first documented exploration of what they now believed to be Mel's hole, tensions ran high. Whatever they discovered would either validate decades of speculation or put to rest one of modern America's most persistent mysteries. Unexpected interference. On the morning scheduled for the drone's deployment, the investigation team arrived at the site to find their equipment behaving erratically. Despite clear skies and normal atmospheric conditions, the preliminary drones they used to scout the area experienced unexpected flight problems, with compass readings spinning wildly and GPS coordinates jumping randomly. The team quickly switched to manual navigation protocols for their equipment and began setting up a perimeter around the metal plate they believed covered Mel's hole. As they worked, team members noticed other strange phenomena. Cell phones lost signal despite being in an area with normally strong coverage. Battery-powered equipment drained unusually quickly. Several team members reported feeling lightheaded or disoriented when standing directly over the metal plate. The theoretical physicist in the team took particular interest in these anomalies. Using specialized equipment, he detected an unusual electromagnetic field emanating from beneath the plate. "It's not exactly a magnetic field in the conventional sense," he explained. "It's more like a pulsing disruption in the local electromagnetic environment. I've never seen readings quite like these before." More concerning were the readings from the team's radiation detectors. While they didn't show dangerous levels of radiation, they did indicate unusual patterns of background radiation fluctuating in a rhythmic pattern. As the team prepared to remove the metal plate, they made another unsettling discovery. The locks securing it were relatively new, certainly not decades old, as would be expected if they had been placed during the period of Waters' original claims. Someone had been accessing this site recently. Using specialized cutting tools designed to minimize sparks or noise, the team carefully removed the locks and prepared to lift the plate. As they did, they were greeted by a rush of cold air from below, significantly colder than the ambient temperature and carrying an unusual metallic odor that none of the team members could identify. With the plate removed, they found themselves looking into a perfectly circular shaft, approximately 9 feet in diameter, with smooth walls that appeared to be reinforced with some type of polymer material rather than natural rock. The shaft descended into darkness, with no visible bottom even when illuminated by powerful spotlights. Before deploying the DeepSight drone, the team conducted preliminary measurements. They lowered a weighted line into the shaft, monitoring both the weight and tension. After dispensing over 3,000 feet of line, they still hadn't reached bottom, and the line exhibited unusual behavior. It didn't hang straight down, but seemed to drift laterally at certain depths. Sound tests proved equally strange. When team members dropped small metal objects into the shaft, they produced no echoes. Even more bizarrely, the objects seemed to take longer to fade from hearing than physics would predict, as if the sound were somehow being stretched or prolonged. As final preparations for the drone deployment were underway, several team members reported hearing what sounded like faint voices or mechanical noises coming from the shaft. Too indistinct to identify clearly, but not natural cave sounds or wind effects. With these concerning but fascinating observations documented, the team prepared to deploy the DeepSight drone. With cautions in place, the team initiated the DeepSight drone's descent sequence, sending the device into the mysterious shaft. Descent into darkness. The DeepSight drone hovered momentarily at the entrance to the shaft, its multiple camera arrays and sensors calibrating to the unusual conditions. Team members in the nearby mobile command center monitored live feeds as the drone began its controlled descent. The drone's powerful LED arrays illuminated the shaft walls as it descended, revealing the unusual polymer coating mentioned earlier. At approximately 200 feet down, the drone encountered its first anomaly, a perfect horizontal band encircling the entire shaft, approximately 1 foot wide, that appeared to be made of a different material than the surrounding walls. The drone hovered near this feature, its specialized sensors analyzing the composition of the material. The results puzzled the entire team. The band contained elements not typically found together in nature, including unusual isotopes of common metals. As the drone continued its descent past 500 feet, the shaft's diameter began to change, gradually widening to nearly 15 feet across. The team observed another strange phenomenon. Small objects appeared to be suspended in the air within the shaft, defying gravity. The drone's cameras captured what looked like dust particles and small pebbles hanging motionless, as if frozen in time. At approximately 1,000 feet, the drone's cameras detected something that caused the entire team to fall silent. Faint, pulsing lights embedded in the shaft walls, arranged in patterns that seemed deliberately placed rather than natural formations. The drone continued its descent, the tether smoothly feeding out as it ventured deeper. At 1,500 feet, the shaft suddenly opened into a much larger cavern, so vast that the drone's lights couldn't illuminate the full extent of the space. What the scanning revealed left the team speechless. The cavern was roughly circular, estimated at over 300 feet in diameter, with the shaft they had descended continuing through its center and extending deeper. But it was what occupied this space that truly shocked them. The drone's cameras captured what appeared to be structures within the cavern, geometric forms that couldn't possibly have formed naturally. Some resembled metallic columns, while others appeared to be platforms or walkways spanning sections of the open space. This looks like some kind of underground facility. The drone continued its systematic exploration of the cavern, revealing more details with each passing minute. The structures appeared to be covered in the same polymer-like material as the shaft walls, but with sections that seemed to pulse with faint luminescence. As the drone navigated toward one of the column-like structures, its sensors detected an electromagnetic surge. Suddenly, all camera feeds showed a bright flash, and for several seconds, the transmission became distorted. When the video feed cleared, the drone's cameras revealed something that would become the most controversial aspect of the entire expedition. A metallic object, approximately 3 feet in diameter, perfectly spherical, hovering unsupported in the middle of the cavern. Its surface reflected the drone's lights with an almost mirror-like quality, but with subtle distortions that suggested it wasn't a conventional metal. The drone cautiously approached the hovering sphere, its sensors recording increasingly unusual data. The object appeared to have no discernible means of suspension, no wires, no magnetic fields their instruments could detect, nothing to explain how it defied gravity. As the drone came within approximately 10 feet of the sphere, something extraordinary happened. The sphere's surface began to ripple, as if liquid despite its metallic appearance. Then, in a display that left the entire team stunned, it changed shape, morphing from a perfect sphere into something else entirely. The transformed object now resembled what team members would later describe as a geometric configuration not found in conventional mathematics, an impossible shape that seemed to fold in on itself in ways that shouldn't be physically possible. At this point, multiple systems on the drone began failing simultaneously. The primary camera feed became distorted, sensors reported contradictory readings, and the drone itself began to experience control issues. As the drone began its return journey, its backup cameras captured one final image that would become the most analyzed and debated frame from the entire expedition. What appeared to be a tunnel branching off from the main cavern, illuminated by the same pulsing lights seen earlier. Within this tunnel, barely visible at the edge of the frame, was what looked like a silhouette of something moving. Whether this was another transforming object, some unknown creature, or simply a shadow created by the drone's own lights, remains one of the most controversial aspects of the footage. What's certain is that this final image would become the subject of intense analysis by experts worldwide. The drone returned to the surface with approximately 70% of its systems still functional, enough to preserve the remarkable footage it had captured nearly 2,000 feet beneath the surface. Shocking revelations. When the DeepSight drone finally emerged from Mel's hole, the investigation team worked quickly to secure its data before the electromagnetic anomalies could corrupt the recordings. What they found when reviewing the footage left them grappling with implications that extended far beyond the initial scope of their investigation. The most immediate revelation was the unquestionable artificial nature of the shaft and cavern. The perfectly formed walls, the embedded light systems, the geometric structures, all pointed to intelligent design rather than natural formation. The material analysis from the drone's spectroscopic sensors revealed another shocking detail. The polymer-like coating contained compounds not found in any known commercial or military application. More disturbingly, some of these compounds appeared to be self-repairing, with microscopic movements visible in samples captured on the drone's highest resolution cameras. But it was the hovering sphere and its transformation that generated the most intense debate among team members. The object had demonstrated what appeared to be responsive behavior, changing form when approached by the drone. This suggested either some form of automated defense mechanism, or more provocatively, an intelligent reaction. The final image showing what might have been movement in one of the tunnels raised even more disturbing possibilities. Enhanced and stabilized, the footage showed what appeared to be a tall, slender silhouette moving with deliberate purpose. Whether this represented some unknown entity, or simply a shadow effect, became the subject of heated discussion. The drone's environmental sensors had collected air samples during its descent, and analysis of these samples yielded perhaps the most scientifically significant finding. The air within the cavern contained trace elements of gases not normally found in Earth's atmosphere, including isotopes typically associated with deep space environments. As the team compiled their findings, they faced a difficult decision regarding public disclosure. The footage they had captured would undoubtedly cause sensation, potentially triggering panic or dismissal as an elaborate hoax. Yet the scientific significance demanded transparency. After consulting with legal experts and ethics advisors, the team opted for a phased disclosure approach. They would release verified data and footage incrementally, beginning with the less controversial aspects, the shaft's dimensions, material analysis, and cavern mapping, before addressing the more inexplicable elements like the hovering sphere. What they hadn't anticipated was how quickly news of their expedition would spread through unofficial channels. Within days of the drone's retrieval, team members began receiving anonymous communications, some threatening, others supportive, suggesting that knowledge of their investigation had leaked to individuals with vested interest in Mel's hole. Most concerning were the sophisticated cyber attacks by what appeared to be professional intelligence operatives, targeting their data storage systems and personal devices. The implication was clear. The team had stumbled upon something of significant interest to powerful entities. This realization lent credibility to one of Waters' original claims. that government agencies had seized control of the site shortly after his radio appearances. As pressure mounted, the team accelerated its analysis and documentation efforts. They established secure communications channels and distributed backup copies of their findings to trusted colleagues internationally, insurance against potential suppression attempts. 3 weeks after the drone's deployment, with analysis still ongoing, the team released their preliminary findings through multiple scientific channels simultaneously. The footage showing the shaft's construction, the cavern's architecture, and the hovering sphere quickly went viral, generating exactly the sensation they had anticipated. Reactions from the scientific community ranged from accusations of elaborate hoax to calls for immediate government investigation. Geological and engineering experts who had initially dismissed Mel's Hole as impossible were forced to reconsider in light of the drone footage showing artificial structures at depths previously thought unsuitable for human construction. For the investigation team, these developments confirmed that their discovery extended far beyond a local legend or natural anomaly. What began as an attempt to verify or debunk folklore had revealed evidence of something that challenged not just scientific understanding, but potentially our conception of what exists beneath the ground we walk on. What experts captured when they flew a drone into Mel's Hole defies all explanation. What do you think they discovered in that mysterious cavern? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and see you next time.